Euro 2024 told us everything that we really needed to know. When England moved Trent Alexander Arnold from defence into midfield, they weren't trying to be clever whatsoever. Instead, England were trying to fix something that wasn't even broken in the first place. Instead of letting Trent actually be Trent, they tried to make him fit into a box, make him normal, make him safe. He doesn't have to defend, he doesn't have to track back. We're gonna platform his qualities. That's what we were told, and that's barely what happened. Because in that moment, as Trent stood in midfield, you can really understand the whole story of his future playing out right in front of your eyes. See, that's always been the thing with Trent, especially playing in England. Every time he shows us something that we've never seen before, people try to explain it in a way where they talk about his failures more than his successes. Every time that we see him break new ground, they try to pull him back to familiar territory. And unfortunately, that's just the sentiment around Trent Alexander Arnold. So in this video, we're going to be talking about why it's finally time for Trent Alexander Arnold to leave England and why it's finally time for him to fulfill his full potential at Los Blancos. Because let's take it back. What is Trent Alexander Arnold as a player? He's a player that's completely redefined what it is to be a right back. And for me, as a fan of him, he's actually made me question why we even use positions anymore. Because when you watch him play, you really think to yourself, do the normal rules of football apply to him? He's not a defender who sometimes attacks, he's not a midfielder who sometimes defends, he's just a completely brand new footballer. He's like a quarterback when you watch the NFL, he's something that we've never seen before. As a rival fan, every time he picks up the ball, you can really feel the tension, not just from the opposition, but from all of the pundits waiting for a mistake as well. Any successful performance is always met with, but can he defend? What were his defensive numbers like? Meanwhile, when you think about Kyle Walker, who's seen as this lord and savior of the English backline, he's arguably cost England in the last few tournaments, and yet he still gets somehow praised for his recovery pace, because that's the difference. In England, if you're fast enough to fix your own mistake, you're a hero. But if you're smart enough to create something new, all you are is a risk. And if we go deeper, this is actually where it gets incredibly complicated. Because Liverpool isn't just Trent's club, it's his home. Because the way Liverpool feels about football isn't like any other place. Football is not just a sport in Liverpool, it's an identity. Because when you have teams like United and Arsenal who have fans scattered all over the globe, not to say Liverpool don't, but it feels that their heart beats the strongest in the city. They've always been proud of being different, being the ones that stand against all of the other English teams. And it's what's made the club special, but it's also built walls. I mean, the club, they get what Trent is trying to do. They've built their team around his unique talent alongside Mohamed Salah. But the rest of English football, it kind of just sees Trent as a problem that they need to fix. And we can take a step back and look at other players this has happened to. Look at what happened to the other players who dared to be different and didn't fit into the English box. Paul Scholes got shunted to the left wing because they couldn't handle a midfielder who thought differently. Joe Cole got the creativity coached out of him. Even Matt Letizia, who's arguably the most naturally gifted English player of his generation, barely got a look in for England because he didn't fit the template. In England, being unique isn't just a challenge, it's almost a curse. Because the treatment of said creative players in England almost tells us everything that we need to know. Because when a player follows the rules and adds something extra, they're praised for developing the game and improving. But when someone like Trent fundamentally changes those rules, they're seen as a player who has strong weaknesses and you cannot mitigate for such weaknesses. Because the story about Trent isn't just about his playing style, it's about English football's deep-seated fear of anything that challenges its core beliefs, and you can even stretch that to society as well. And that's where Real Madrid come into this picture, because they're not just a big club, they are the biggest football club in the entire world, and they're a machine that's built to turn great players into legends. Every week in Madrid, some journalists will be breaking down Trent's passing angles, they'd be analysing his vision, and they'd be celebrating what makes Trent Alexander-Arnold special. They wouldn't talk about what he isn't, they'd showcase what he is. Look at what they did with Vinicius Jr. after questioning his talent. Look at how they turned Benzema from a striker that everyone questioned into a Ballon d'Or winner. The Real Madrid PR machine would understand something that English football really doesn't. Greatness needs to be shown to the world and not just hidden away on the pitch. At Madrid, every single brilliant pass Trent makes would be seen around the world for days. When he sprays those 60-meter passes, it wouldn't come with a, oh, but what about his defending? It would come with comparisons to Bellingham, to Zidane, to Beckham, to the greats who changed the way that we see football. Because here's the brutal truth about staying in England. It's not just about playing in a different league, in a different country, in a different city. system. It's about being trapped in a game that he can never win. Every game it's Trent versus Walker, Trent versus Reece James, Trent versus Timber. All of these right backs instantly get compared to Trent Alexander Arnold. Every game becomes a referendum on whether his way of playing is sustainable and acceptable. Because in Madrid, he wouldn't just be compared to right backs anymore. He'd be compared to the artists, to the revolutionaries, to the players who changed the game. And do you want to know what the hardest part of all of this is? Liverpool's greatest strength in my eyes is its fierce local pride. Everyone is happy and everyone is there to support Liverpool. But on the other hand, you can see its resistance to the change in modern football. And that very quality can be the thing holding Trent back from becoming what he deserves to be. In my eyes, the very authenticity that makes Liverpool special means that it can't really provide the global stage that a revolutionary talent like Trent Alexander Arnold needs. Because for Trent, leaving Liverpool would mean more than just changing teams. It's about choosing between staying loyal to where you're from and being loyal to your potential and what you want to be and what he deserves to be. Because yes, whilst Real Madrid can offer a brand new white shirt that's elegant, that's classy, Real Madrid offers freedom to the weight of English football's way of seeing the game. It's a chance for him to finally be understood, finally for him to become celebrated, and finally for Trent Alexander-Arnold to show the world what football can actually be. Because sometimes the hardest part of becoming who you're meant to be is leaving the place that made you who you are. And for him, becoming a legend might mean leaving home to find a place where being different isn't just accepted, it's expected. Where innovation isn't just tolerated, innovation is demanded at Real Madrid. And for Trent Alexander-Arnold, it's finally the opportunity for him to be recognized as the greatest fullback to ever touch the game of football.